This video is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the simplest fantasy sports game on the market. It's simple and easy to win. We got it pulled up right here, Mr. Malik Brown. He's got it scrolled up. He's got it downloaded. You can pick 2 to 5 players and win up to 10 times. 10. 1, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, 10.
10
times on
10 of the things.
Prize Picks is slick and easy to use. Just ask Malik Brown.
Man, look. So I've been doing good recently. I decided to come back on the game. I don't have any picks for today, but yesterday I had some picks and I won $20. So
Hey!
Right now I'm winning. I got $20, y'all.
We got a dub.
You know what I mean? Look, I know we're the Hawks podcast, so we're gonna talk basketball, but look, they got football. They got Matt Jones and Matt Ryan up there for Thursday night football. I'm not gonna do that one though. They got college basketball now. They got college basketball, college football, MMA, tennis, women's basketball. Shout out to the women, and something called CSO gaming. They have gaming too.
Wow.
So hey man, look, they got it all here, y'all.
Prize Picks is quick and easy to use, and they
selling
the App Store and Google Play. You can sign up using the code ASU, and that's initials for not Arizona State University, Atlanta Sports Unlimited. Once again, that's
subscribe.
Subscribe. After you sign up, Prize Picks will max up to 100% of your initial deposit for up to $100, man. It is literally the best place for fantasy points for you to play the fantasy game, because this is all about the fantasy of Prize Picks. Prize Picks. Enjoy the video. Yo, what's up, everybody? It's Birds in the Buckets. I'm your co-host, Rashad Milligan, here with my co-host, Malik Brown. Malik, how are you doing tonight?
Feeling good, living better, bro. Feeling good, living better. How we living today?
I heard that. I'm rocking a hoodie right now. It's just a late night edition. I just woke up from a nap, so I feel refreshed and everything like that.
Yes, sir.
But we have not 1, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7. We got 2 guests tonight. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. In the left corner or whatever screen that they are on your screen, we got my boy Reg, a.k.a. Reggie's World, a.k.a. Reg LP Mickles. And on the right corner, we got my boy, blessed and highly favored. We got Mr. Jersey himself, Mr. Steve Smith Jersey, Mr. Mookie Blaylock Jersey, Mr. Free Mookie Blaylock. We got the jersey in our house right now. We got Dwaine Mitchell.
There it is. What's going on, family?
Fellas, touch gloves.
Y'all talking like y'all. Okay.
What's that, round one?
This is what we owe.
How's everybody doing tonight, man?
I'm doing good. I'm a little, I fell asleep a little bit watching the Warrior beatdown that they put on Brooklyn, but I'm up, I'm awake, I'm feeling pretty good.
I'm here. I'm just tired, bro. Long day at work, but I'm here though, man. I'm here.
I appreciate the honesty. All right, so all right, guys, getting into it. We'll start off with just a general follow-up and recap of the Hawks week. The Hawks, they ended their 6-game losing streak. I believe it was 6 games after a 6-game. No, hold on. It couldn't have been 6 games. How was it 6? How was it? It was a 6-game losing streak, but it was a 6-game road trip, right? Or was it a 7-game road trip?
It was
4-game road trip. Oh, okay.
Because they went to Brooklyn, and then they came back home to Utah the next day.
Oh, without Donovan Mitchell, and they still lost. All right. So they ended a 6-game losing streak, coming back home this past Sunday against the Milwaukee Bucks. This past Sunday was if today's November 15th. Is today November 15th?
Today is the 16th, I want to say.
The 16th? So
yeah, 16th. It's the 16th.
November 14th, they ended their losing streak to the Milwaukee Bucks at home, and it was a big win. Giannis played, and it was So-So Def night. Trey won the So-So Def shoes, the colorways, scored 42 points, hit like 6 threes in the first half, ended up with 42. And then the very next night, back-to-back at home, it was the Orlando Magic. And as you all know, the Hawks pretty much own Orlando at home ever since the Dwight Howard era. So yeah, they pretty much just stayed on track with that. John Collins called Mo Bamba soft, and he also used some other words and adjectives. And yeah, the Hawks won those back-to-back games. At the time we're recording this, the very next night, November 17th, the Hawks will host the Boston Celtics for Gunna night. Boston Celtics, also known as the 2012 Atlanta Hawks, with Dennis Schroeder at point guard and Al Horford at center. So, fellas, just how you feeling about this past week, the end of the losing streak, and, I guess just how you're feeling now with the Hawks back at home with 2 wins under their belt?
Go first, Rich. You got it, bro.
I'm a little, well, as far as how they're playing currently, I'm optimistic. They've gotten a nice little rhythm, winning 2 in a row. The ball's moving. Trae Young has been insane, really, for the last like 5 or so games, but like his insane plays finally translating into W's. So that's good to see. John Collins has been awesome. And Gallinari and Lou Williams and the role players are starting to catch on. So I'm optimistic about how they're playing. And I think they can continue to play well and, get a good little win streak going.
Same here. I'm optimistic, but that road trip was extremely disappointing. I'll say that. Gallo was playing terrible in my opinion, but I mean, I don't say his shot was just not falling. That's what it was, and when his shot not falling, having him out there is, that's what he does. Really, Clint, he struggled, especially on the road trip. But I think a lot of it is I ain't gonna lie to you. I've been kind of hard on him on Twitter and stuff, but at the same time, seeing how he played these last couple games, I'm thinking maybe it was him trying to get a rhythm coming off of that injury. So, I'm hoping, he's, starting to, get his feet and, get back to the old Clint we all know. JC been playing out of his mind. He's been playing really good. Same with Trey. Both those, even struggling on the road trip, those two are still, playing at a high level. So, another surprise, not a surprise, but another good thing to see is DeLon. Even though he hasn't scored a whole lot of points, his impact whenever he gets on the court has been positive. I mean, he's playing great defense. He's rebounding. He's being active. Like I say, a lot of these things don't show up in the stat sheet, but he's provided some really good minutes as of late. So hopefully we don't have another road trip to where we lose that many games or have a 6-game losing streak, because the way the East is this year, I don't think we can afford to dig ourselves in a big hole or anything this year, because I said before the season, the goal was to get like a top 3 or 4 seed, that home court advantage, So if we do want that, hope this is a long season though. Like I said, it's still, early, but we don't want to lose 6 in a row again. We don't want it to happen again. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I think I've seen things have gotten better. I think through the week, through last week. I think it's just disappointing because, and I want to hold this team to high standards because I feel like they hold themselves to high standards. So when they say that, they feel disrespected and they want to be one of the top teams and everything, it's like, okay, you got to go out there and beat those teams. And last week was the perfect opportunity, and they didn't do it. So now, I mean, it's cool. You came back home. You beat up on the Magic. You beat up on the Bucks. I mean, you was kind of like Rashad. We was talking before the show even started. Like, they were supposed to win those games. So, but it's like, okay, what about the games that are like, you playing against the top teams in the West? Like, what you got to show something. And I mean, they did show something in the first half of those games, but second half, everything just went downhill. So But I mean, through like the past 3 games, I think Clint Capella has been a plus for sure. I think like Dwaine said, him coming back into game shape, it looks like he has been playing himself back into game shape. So he looks better. He looks like he did last year. And I think just switching the lineups even more helped better this past week. So I mean, you saw some of the starters in with the bench unit, and you saw DeLon Wright come in and play some minutes. Like at a point, DeLon wasn't even getting on the court. Like and everybody was like, "Why is this happening? Like you didn't trade for this. You didn't trade for this to happen." So, I mean, we've seen him, and he's been a plus as well. So, I feel like things are starting to come together now. Of course, the Hunter injury sucks, but they have I feel like they have enough depth.
The Hunter injury, DeAndre Hunter.
Yep.
I believe it was his knee soreness again, correct?
No, it was the wrist.
Oh, the wrist. Or wrist. But he's out for 8 weeks now after suffering that wrist injury. So that was just background. You might continue, Malik, if you had anything else.
No, that was it. That was it. But like Dwaine and Reggie said, optimistic. But I still think it's some more work to be done for sure.
Okay, for sure. And the thing was, I knew Malik wanted to say something going into this week. Once again, birds in the buckets are the talk of the timeline. So, Malik, I'll let you have the floor and explain what happened last week, and I guess clear things up or whatever you want to do. I don't know.
Man, look, I don't even know. I forgot how it even started, bro. All I can say is somebody started talking about Jalen Johnson. Oh, they started talking about how they wanted to see Jalen Johnson in the lineup after they lost to the Nuggets, and it was a couple people talking, and then we had Kosan Z on the night before, maybe 2 nights before, and yeah. I had talked about how when I go to the Styles games, I'm in the media room, I'm listening to the coach, and he's literally saying that, and he's not saying it, but he said things like, okay, he had to sit Jalen one time because he wasn't conducting himself correctly. And I didn't even mention this, like, he was talking about how, like, in the same sentence, he was talking about how, like, players were talking under their breath on the bench, like, just with, like, like a negative attitude or whatnot. And, I mean, I'm pretty sure he was talking about Jalen, because why would you talk about him and then just randomly just mention players talking under their breath? So, he's not – it seems like he's not conducting himself. He's not being professional. And I said that, I mean, it just doesn't seem like he wants to be there. And then, of course, people on Twitter, after Kozan, he had said, he had got some sources saying that that Jalen, I forgot what Kozan said. He said something about sources. I was the source. And then, they were like, who are your sources and whatnot? So he dropped the video, he dropped the podcast to them, and then everybody's like, this is your source? And I'm pretty sure they didn't even listen to the video. I'm sure they didn't even look at the video before they even said that. And I mean, I know his name.
It was Simon
Raff.
Shout out to
Simon Raff.
Okay.
Hawks Draft Nerd. Hawks Draft Nerd. Yeah, I think he was the one that was stirring the pot. Because not only was he stirring the pot with Jalen Johnson, he was trying to stir the pot on the other side with Cam Reddish. And somebody was talking about how Cam Reddish hasn't been playing the same defense that he played last year, which, I mean, is true, because shout out to Glenn Willis of Peachtree Hoops. He shows clips of the Hawks just struggling on defense, and, their good spots and their bad spots. So he dropped some clips of Cam Reddish, and I guess Simon wasn't having it. So I guess he was having a bad day, but yeah, I don't even know what I wanted to clear up. I just wanted to make sure y'all knew I am in the media room when the coach is saying this. I didn't say I'm the source. Kozan C said that, but I got I can see you the recording too. I still got it on my phone. I'm not lying. So I mean, look, that's all I gotta say.
We got you, Malik. I think if anything's like the issue here, it's like it's kind of like the response to when Cosign Z dropped it, and he was like, "This is your source." I was like, "Hold on now, like, hey, watch your tone." Like, I know I'm wearing a hoodie and like, I think that's it. I think I should probably stop wearing a hoodie and a do-rag on, and maybe then
we're not conducting ourselves correctly.
You're right. Who am I? We've just been credentialed for years, but but I guess it's just appearance is everything. So like you judge a book by its cover and stuff, whatever. But I mean, I think that was the thing that I was more kind of like a little bit concerned with, was like the questioning of this is what you're looking at. But I mean, Reg was in it too. Reg was in it, so I guess Reg, from your perspective, what were you kind of seeing on the timeline as all the drama unfolded?
I guess like my own thoughts. Well, as far as like the Jalen Johnson thing, I'll just say that like there's a reason that he fell as far as he did, and it's because of the rumblings that I'm sure all of us have read as far as like his attitude. So like I don't think whatever he did at the G League, whether it's his, I guess, his nonchalant attitude or whatever the case may be, maybe it's not too big of a deal, but I do think it's something that you have to monitor moving forward. As far as like, will he have a nonchalant attitude when he's with Coach Nate, or how will Coach Nate deal with that if it happens again? So I don't think it's the end of the world, so to speak, with him, but I do think it's something that you have to monitor.
No, the good news, Reg, when there's someone who has an attitude problem reportedly in college, and then it happens once again in the G League, when they get called up to the NBA, the attitude problems and issues that they've shown at every step of their career beforehand magically disappear once they get to the NBA. So I think that's the most positive thing about Jalen Johnson in this situation is, once he gets to that NBA level, all of those issues that have been reported at every single step of his basketball career magically disappear. So I'll let you go, Dwaine. What are your thoughts on, I guess, on this whole Jalen Johnson saga?
Well, I missed that whole situation y'all told me. I missed that. I wasn't on Twitter, so I don't know. This is news to me. It sounds like there's a lot of stuff going on. But with Jalen, like I said, he's young. That's not an excuse though to be acting, if he is acting nonchalant in G League or whatever he's doing. But like you said, a lot of times when players do have those problems in college and in G League or whatnot, when they do get to the NBA, those do typically go away. My problem, my worry is since those problems were there already, if he doesn't receive the amount of, let's say, minutes he thinks he should be getting after he shows flashes or something, because we know how deep our roster is, will those problems maybe come up in another form or another way? It's just like once, because even since Sharif has been sent down to the G League, he fell to the second round in the draft and everything, but you never not heard not one thing about him having a nonchalant attitude or not being positive. You follow him on.
He doesn't talk.
But if you follow him, well, I follow him on Instagram and Twitter and stuff. So whenever he posts something that's always positive, he's talking about, well, just think of everything, as God setting you up to, to progress and everything. It's just,
yeah.
I just think he has a really mature attitude in the way he carries himself. Now, I'm not saying Jalen's immature. I don't know the guy. I'm not going to put that on him. But all I'm saying is, whenever it is, like you said, rumblings before the draft from Duke, and now rumblings again, typically where there's smoke, there's fire. There is something there. But I'm just hoping that once he does get to the league and stuff and get around, some of the vets and stuff we have on the roster, maybe he will, that will go away. But I just worry about, like I said, once he does get here, if he shows flashes to have a really good game, and then the next game he might not be getting as much minutes as he thinks he should be getting, will that be an issue or problem? Hopefully it won't, but that's the only thing on that. But as far as I think it being a long-term problem, a lot of, I think he's, he is 19 right now. He's going to get older. He's going to mature. He's going to, so I don't think it'll be a big issue, but it's, like I said, it's something to keep an eye on, though. I will say that.
This is nothing of value to add to the podcast. This is just something I randomly thought of when I was at the game on Sunday. Is it like strange to anybody else that it's just kind of like accepted after the COVID season because, the NBA changed its rules that coaches don't have to wear suits anymore? So like NBA coaches during like regulation games are wearing sweats. Like, do you guys ever look at that and like, wow, that's weird because all your life has been suits with NBA coaches on the sidelines. This is nothing of value to the podcast, by the way. It's just a random thought I had over the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it's different. It's definitely different. It's definitely different. But once COVID hit, they said I guess going forward they was gonna make it not mandatory. So it looks different. But honestly, over the last, I kind of got used to it now already. So I mean, but in the beginning, it's definitely. It's different. It's definitely different though.
To be honest, it's something I haven't really paid that much attention to as far as like coaches wearing whatever. So it just, I guess, just doesn't matter to me.
Just win the game, huh?
just perform and win.
Right.
I feel it. I feel it. But before we I guess get into other things and get deep into it, I guess we'll just start off with the surface level and then we'll work our way into it. Over the losing streak, the reason why we brought Reg back on is because Reg was talking his talk, man. The timeline turned on the great Nate McMillan. The great Nate McMillan, who they made the whole Nate had to regulate, and Reddit was making all the memes, and everybody's retweeting and having a good old funky time. 14-20. Nate McMillan saved the day for the great Atlanta Hawks. All of those people turned around. So I won after all.
I was joking.
Wait, hold on. The whole timeline turned against Nate McMillan, the savior Nate McMillan, coach of the year Nate McMillan, snubbed from last year. The one key to get the Hawks to the Eastern Conference Finals, not Trae Young's 48 points, not Trae Young's game winner in the Garden. We had the Peachtree ones. I just got him. Not any of that. Nate McMillan. So the whole timeline turned on Nate McMillan, and one guy had his shining moment. And he goes by the name of Reggie Mickles. When everybody was beating up on Lloyd Pierce, LP, Reggie was like, no, he's good, y'all. He's good, y'all. He's good, y'all. He's not the issue. It's the players and their effort. And they got to do this. And they got to. And everybody's like, shut up, Reggie. You don't know basketball. He took a beating. He came on the podcast and said, you know what? I was wrong. He had a moment because it got to a point where during the losing streak, Trae was still getting 25 points. However, say the Golden State game, Golden State plays box and one on Trae Young. They guard Trae Young around the court. When he doesn't have the ball in his hands, he just kind of drifts out to the half court line and just kind of does this. He hobbles from left to right at the half court line. And if they don't get the ball to him, then he's useless on offense. And Reg called it out. He said, yo, Trae ain't shooting the ball from three under McMillan this season. He kind of having a lot of the same struggles he had from three under Lloyd Pierce. This was before Trae Young went 7 for 7 in the first half against Milwaukee, scored 42. So I guess just starting off from there, the losing streak, the bad times where Reg took his victory lap and said he was right about LP. Reg, just open up with that. How are you feeling at that point? The evidence you had to back it up over an extended stretch, because that was about a week and a half.
As far as the LP tweet, I was kind of like half kidding with that. To me, truthfully, I'm half kidding with the LP tweet. I just responded. I responded to that because it was just on my timeline, so I just wanted to draw attention to everyone. But as far as the losing streak, to me, the reason the Hawks were on that losing streak, and it was something I said before the year, was my biggest concern about this team was I was worried that the team had too many cooks in the kitchen, too many guys who want to get their touches and shots, and like I'm talking about DeAndre Hunter and Cam Reddish. Like for most of last season, when the Hawks went on that run, you pretty much didn't have either guy. So both of them are looking at the situation. They're saying, okay, Trae Young, he got paid, and Kevin Huerter, he got paid, and they're looking at Bogey. He signed a 4-year, $70 million contract.
72.
Yeah, $72 million. And Clint Capella, he got paid. So, and you got Gallinari, and they signed him. So Hunter and Cam Reddish and DeAndre Hunter are looking at it as saying, like, I gotta prove my worth. I gotta show what I'm about. And as a result of that, I felt like roles were kind of not being defined, and because of that, I felt like it felt like that there's a little bit of a like identity crisis with the team. You know, as far as where shots are coming from. Like we know Trae Young, we know what his role is, and we know what John Collins' role is, and to a lesser degree, Clint Capella, even though he wasn't playing well in his role, but at least you know what he was supposed to do. So I just felt like, you know, with DeAndre Hunter trying to force shots and Cam Reddish trying to force shots and Kevin Huerter struggling and Bogey kind of being passive, like because of their struggles, I felt like that was a huge hindrance to the team. And to me, that's why I felt like the team was struggling the way that they were.
What do you also just staying along that before we go to Dwaine? Do you also feel like a part of that? I feel like a large part of that was, you know, as guys like shout out to Nikias and everybody like that who pointed it out with clips on the timeline and stuff. It's a lack of spacing and like just kind of the play calling and offensive game plan from Nate at that time, because it was like, you know, they win against Orlando, and what does Trey say in the post game? He's like, McMillan, Nate just kind of let us run. He just kind of just let us run tonight, and we just kind of did what we did on offense. Versus, you know, you see the clips of Lou is in the corner clustered up with Cam and maybe Herder or somebody else, and you know Lou has to push Cam to even give him space because you know they just kind of they don't look organized. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
how'd you feel about the offense? Like as far as like McMillan's role in that and play calling?
I think there's some credence to that. I just think at the end of the day with Nate, he's trying to figure out ways to incorporate Hunter and Cam. And I think when you heard the stats, you know, as far as like how the Hawks were leading the league in mid-range shots and things of that nature, I think a lot of that was because of Hunter and Reddish, because Hunter when he's right, he loves shooting those mid-range jump shots. And same with Cam Reddish. So you're trying to incorporate those two into, you know, the team, and it creates a jumbled up mess because Bogey, he's, you know, before Hunter and Reddish were healthy, you know, he was getting his shots, shooting 7, 8 a night, and Herder was in a flow. So it's just I felt to me everything was stringed around just incorporating Hunter and Reddish, and Nate just trying to figure out how to use those two. And in a way, you know, I hope Hunter, you know, I hate that he's hurt, and I hate that he's going to miss 2 months. But I think him being out, I think now, in the short term at least, it slides down the pecking order as far as roles. Whereas now roles are just, you know, more defined. Like Bogey, okay, now Bogey has to step up and he's gonna get his shots in. Herder's going to step up and he's gonna get his shots in. Cam Reddish, you know, now, you know, he's gonna get some touches in. You know, he's gonna have to step up. So I think now, with Hunter out, guys, it'll be easier for everyone to just, specifically the wing players, they know where their shots and touches are coming from now.
And I got
And,
a follow-up on that. Go ahead.
and you've seen it over the last two, even though the wins were, against Orlando and, Milwaukee, they're injured. But, you saw the fast pace of the offense, the 3-point shots being attempted and the pace and all that stuff. I think a lot of that is just due to, okay, I know the players, specifically the wing players, they know where their roles and shots and where they're going to be on the floor. They know where they're supposed to do.
Well, my follow-up to that, and this is for you too, Dwaine, before I ask you the LP question. So now that, as you said that, Hunter goes out, unfortunate, but, the team does win 2 games they're supposed to win, but they were losing games they were supposed to win last week when everybody was healthy. Do you think that means, that kind of proves the point that maybe a trade does need to happen to kind of free up those wings in the 2 and the 3? Or do you keep all these wings in the 2 and the 3 because Hunter and Cam have both showed that they're not the most dependable being healthy for a full 82-game season yet? How do y'all both feel about that? Dwaine, you can go first if you want.
It's tough because at the same time, I wouldn't want. I'm not to the point where I say I would want to pull the trigger on a trade or something right now because it's still early in the season. But at the same time, I was listening, like to Reggie's point, I was listening to 929 the game the other day, and they were just talking about how much they, hate that Hunter is injured, but they said they think it clears up a lot of things as far as, the depth chart, people's roles, specifically and stuff like that, and it actually does. I believe in the beginning part of the season, I've tweeted as many times. I felt like we were playing me ball, my turn ball. It turned into okay, well, all right, it's my turn. All right, because Cam, got to think about it. Cam and DeAndre are still trying to establish themselves in this league. I remember when Nate had his press conference after his introductory press conference, he was saying, one of the things that made us successful this past season is that players were sacrificing. And it's hard to do with a young team because everybody is trying to establish themselves in this league. And that is true, but you got to think about it. For a big part of the season last year, we was missing DeAndre and we was missing Cam. So you can make that statement that everybody sacrificed, but they wasn't there for a majority of that run that we went on. And then by the time we got to the playoffs, DeAndre, was there for the Knicks series for a couple games. And, we didn't have a full season of seeing everybody sacrifice and fit into a certain role. You know what I'm saying? And now we finally get in there. And I think at the beginning of the year, it just, like Red saying, it was just a mess at some points. It was just turned into, I was looking at the game, I was like, they don't look like a team out there at all. The ball's not moving, it's sticking. It's like, okay, all right, your turn to go. All right, this possession is going to be my turn to go. It wasn't cohesive at all.
It looked like Russell Westbrook ball.
Yeah, it looked bad. It looked pretty bad. And I remember Miss D had tweeted this on Twitter. I don't know if it's true or not, but she was just basically saying that Nate McMillan went to the playoffs last year running LP's offense. And now Nate is trying to implement these different things, and it's not working. He should have stuck with what was working last year, So I thought about that. That's, because that the offense at the beginning of the season, I understand some players are going to miss shots. I get it. Everybody's not going to be on, but the way the ball was sticking and the combo, it was not flowing at all.
So Dwaine, my follow-up to that is, what's the difference between LP's 14 and 20 offense, because it seemed like, when he was going the first part of the season, Bogey couldn't hit a shot to save his life. And the Hawks offense just didn't. It was Trey brings the ball up, Trey double screen at the top, and then whatever the heck, like street ball from there, right? Like that was his offense. Nate comes in the picture, and all of a sudden Bogey's hitting shots. The ball is moving. Herder's moving off the ball. Bogey's moving off the ball. I guess so. If Nate was running LP's offense, which he said he was, because he said, I don't want to change too much in the middle of the season, but everything looks so much better, then I guess why wasn't it working under LP last year?
That's a great question. That's a $1 million question right there. And that's when I would get into other aspects of there's something else deeper issue here. Because like you said, if the offense is like if the offense did not change, and then as soon as Nate takes over, okay, now everything seems to take off. Something is not adding.
What? Oh, what
Here we go.
changed? What?
Go
What
ahead.
changed?
Reg.
You just said what changed was they had Bogey moving without the ball, a lot of off-ball movement, and to me, I also think what changed with Nate compared to LP was they started playing slower. Like, especially like you saw it late in games. Like Trae Young late in games under Nate was better because the pace was slower. They took the right shot instead of, quick shots early in the shot clock. And to me, I think more than anything, that's what changed with Nate and LP.
Saying that, is that a coach adjustment, or is that, I mean, if you're still running the same offense and you're saying, okay, well, which I agree with you 100% on, because Trae was a lot better at the end of games when I agree with that 100%. But my question basically is, okay, well, if he's running the same offense, what made them become more under control? Was there a coaching adjustment that Nate made, or?
To me, I don't know. It's a good question. I would just say, to me, I think the biggest thing that Nate did was just like, I thought he had the team playing a little slower and not rushing things. To me, under LP, they were just playing too out of control. To me, I think that was the biggest difference that I seen. It wasn't like anything specific that he did with the offense, but I just think Nate, and maybe it's because of Nate's little believe speeches that he had in the huddles all last year. I don't know, but to me,
speeches changed the offense and opened up the.
I'm gonna tell you what I think it was. Y'all might disagree with me, but I'm gonna tell you what I think it was. I think it was what Nate was actually saying to a point. I think they respected what he was saying and was actually listening to him. I think it got to a point, just what I believe, where is a lot of the guys on the team, it got to a point where they started to tune out LP. They started to say, okay, well, I don't, some of them, I've seen some reports, stuff like, I don't think this guy has my best interests at heart. So I'm going to play my game. I'm going to go 100 miles per hour. I'm not going, it just, I think that they had got to a point where they had started to tune him out. I believe, it's just what I think.
My question follow up to that, Dwaine, do you feel like the team was getting that way with Nate during the losing streak? Because it was like, it got to a point where it was like, blown lead against Phoenix, blown lead against Utah, blown lead against and it was like the third, fourth time you knew they were about to blow it. Like the Golden State game, every Hawks fan who was watching that entire road trip knew they were about to. It was just like a matter of when, not if. So do you feel like the team was getting to a point where they started tuning out Nate during the losing streak?
I won't go that far.
Go ahead. You got it, Rich. I'll go after you.
I'm not gonna go that far. Maybe if they would have lost to like Milwaukee and God forbid Orlando, maybe we could have gotten to that point. I just think on a road trip, I think the Hunter, Cam, incorporating those two back in the lineup, I think had a lot to do with them losing. And also, they played tough teams like, Golden State. And I just watched them smack up on the Nets tonight. Like they're legit. Like they're low. And in that game against the Warriors, like Steph Curry scored 50 on us and he went off in the third quarter. Like that played a part in why the Hawks lost that game. And like Utah, I think you played them on a back-to-back or whatever. Like it's tough winning in Utah. You know what I'm saying? So and in that game, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Bogey didn't play in that game either. So you were kind of, injured a little bit, so losing to Utah and losing to them on the low, like I can't kill the Hawks for that. So I just think the Hawks just went through a little bit of a, rough spell, and you combine that with some of the, trying to incorporate your key players like Hunter and Reddish, and this is what we have. But they got out of that losing streak, and they've got 2 wins in a row, and hopefully that they can keep it going.
Dwaine, any response? Hold on. We might have lost Dwaine. In the meantime, Malik, you got any words?
Yeah, I mean that first of all, that was a good back and forth combo. I honestly don't know what, like, my mind was like, as soon as y'all said something else, my mind was on that. Like, my mind kind of racing right now. Like, I have a lot of thoughts about it, but I mean, I just want to start from like the beginning to like the beginning of last season, where it was like, okay,
we can hear you now, but we can't see the picture. But yeah, Malik, just keep going. Just keep going for right now.
But yeah, so like the beginning of last season, the Hawks start 3-1, and everything is good. You feel me? Like, it just seems like they got everything together. Like, the problem was, okay, we didn't have enough good pieces. So, they add the players and everything's good. They start 3-1. They beat the Nets. They stay competitive with the Nets. I think it still might be breaking up. So, you say something, Dwayne?
Is he?
Just keep going, Malik.
All right, yeah, but yeah. So, and then everything happens, like the losing streak, and then John and Trey, the whole John and Trey thing about, I don't know, I forgot about him not passing the ball, or like him getting the offense ready or whatnot. Trey taking up the quick shots, like all of that happened. So, and then they start blowing leads. So all of that happens, and it's like, okay, and now you look into this season, and it's like, okay, everything. I mean, it's been up and down to start this season, but they're blowing leads still. I mean, you can check it out in Phoenix when they were playing Phoenix. Trey chucks up that crazy shot, and then the next possession, Bogey comes and shoots that crazy three. Like, I don't even think Nate caught that up, in my opinion. So it's like, when things like this happen, it's like, okay, they were doing the same thing last year, and everything was down bad. But whose fault was it? It was coach. It was the coach's fault. And this is this is the thing. It's like, okay, when things get tough, who's the first person you're gonna blame? You're gonna blame the coach. So they got rid of that problem. They got rid of that problem last year, and you got the same problem happening this year. So is it coach or is it the players?
Dun dun dun.
And I said this the last podcast. I'm like, is it the coach or is it the players? And I want to commend both LP and Nate. I feel like both of them have done some good in the Hawks offense. So as far as last year, and I remember years past, like since Lloyd was in Atlanta, he's always talked about he wants the Hawks chucking up threes. He wants the Hawks to shoot this many threes a game, Because
he wants them to lead the league in pace.
Exactly, because they have Trae Young, who shoots a lot of threes, and they had a whole bunch of other players that can shoot threes. So you got the same roster now, but Nate is kind of like, his offense is more of like mid-range and all this other stuff, like getting those type of shots. And that's not fitting with the personnel. Like, everybody on the team can shoot threes. So you need to put up a certain amount of threes and also speed the pace up, because you have young players on the team. And I mean, I feel like the slow pace has worked as well. And I feel like some of the things that Nate has put in the offense has worked. But I mean, it's kind of hard. Like, that's why I say my mind is racing. I'm not really sure, like, I don't know if is there anybody to blame. Is there really like true blame to put on anybody? Like, I don't know. I really don't.
Anything else from anybody that wants to maybe jump in at that point?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. So.
Oh, he cut off as soon as he started talking. All right, so. Okay, you're cutting in a little bit. So I guess your Hawks Mount Rushmore, y'all. Mookie Blaylock, Dikembe Mutombo, Steve Smith, Pete Maravich. Man. All right. Let me see what we have. Okay, so you got the Celtics tomorrow night.
Can you mute him?
Yeah, he's just breaking up.
Okay.
It's just I think you cut back in. You have cut back in, Dwaine. Dwaine is back with us. And Dwaine has cut out.
Okay.
Okay. Now we can hear Dwaine. Okay.
Yeah, you got it.
Dwaine.
Am I back?
Okay, I think you're back.
Every time I start talking.
Yeah, it was literally like it was
yes.
working fine the entire time you listened to Malik. And I said, anybody else? And you said, yeah, and then you went like this, and then like it just froze right here. Like, I was like, dang. As soon as he said, oh yeah, I'll say. All right, go ahead, Dwaine.
Get it off now, Dwaine. Get it out now.
Okay. It's such a get out while I can. So I think as far as the road trip goes, it was some things that I was disappointed with. I remember the Phoenix game. I think John Collins had started like only 7 for 7 from the field, or he only missed like one shot in the first half or something like that. And then for the rest of the game, he had only one shot attempt or something like that. And the funny thing about it is that's the same thing that a lot of people were.
I think you're breaking up again.
It was the same thing a lot of people were saying last year with John Collins. He wasn't getting any touches last season, and it's the thing that Hawks fans. But that was the thing I was really concerned about.
Not getting enough shots up and stuff like that.
Okay, there we go.
I'm breaking up.
Yeah. Okay, we heard you at the end.
Yes.
I kind of filled in the gaps
know.
of like the thing that people were complaining about last season was the lack of shot attempts and touches that JC was getting. So I like bridge the gap right there if you want to jump back in from there.
Gotcha. But yeah, so I just believe we have to. A lot of people say he can't create his own offense and stuff like that. Okay, you could say to an extent, okay, that's fine. You can say that, but when we have a player that's hot and is not missing from the field, especially when we're other players are struggling, we got to find a way to continue to run the offense through him. So that was one of the really disappointing things. But in a lot of those games on the road trip, a couple of them, I know we was leading at halftime, or either a tie game at halftime. So it just seems like we fell apart in the second half. I don't know, it just right when, the other team came out after halftime and punched us in the mouth, we didn't respond. We got to find a way to at least break 500 on the road going forward. We've proven that we can win at home. That's nice. That's all good and dandy, but we gotta win more than just getting swept on a road trip. So, but like I said, I forgot the question. I'm starting to ramble. Go ahead, bro.
Well, I really, excuse me. There was no question. It was just asking if anybody else had anything else on kind of like the road or the path we were on. But that was the thing that was so concerning to me during the losing streak. It was kind of like that entire, which Coach Sanzi talked about last week, was the, kind of Trey's kind of answers and those post-game pressers. And then, even, we love him and everything like that. But, his dad tweeting the thing of, it's not JC not getting touches. That's not the problem. It's not the offensive. Like, he said it's something else. And when he said that, he just opened up an entire can of worms of like guys don't know their role and guys on like, especially after the Golden State game, where
And I think
Steph did have.
he's right about that.
No, well, all right. Well, there's Reggie. He agrees with him. But that was the thing that I was really kind of concerned with during the entire thing, because it was the whole thing of JC's not getting touches, and then and Trey was saying, when you look at Golden State, everybody knows their role to a T of how they play around Curry, and we have to do the same thing here in Atlanta. That was kind of like what his dad was kind of hinting at. So it was that was the thing I was kind of most concerned of like, oh man, it looks like some kind of friction, some discomfort here. And while it might seem like it might be good and dandy and flowers for these next couple of weeks without Hunter and without Onyeka, when both of them jokers come back in a couple months,
yeah,
we gonna have the exact same. It's like you're just running into the same wall right now when everybody's healthy, and it's like everybody keeps saying, "Wait till everybody healthy." They get healthy, and then you get the beginning of the season. What were they, 4-8? So it's just I don't know, man. I don't know. I think a trade is kind of like the only thing you have left. So my question to you guys. Oh, go ahead, Reg. Go ahead, Reg.
You going? I think you about to ask a question, but keep going.
Well, the question I was about to ask, it was about two players in particular. The first player is kind of a little more hypothetical because there's a lot of money for a backup point guard. But Kosan Z was talking about someone with that dog, someone with that experience that Trey can listen to and really respect. Like he felt like Vince was perfect for that. And Lou, although Trey said Lou is his favorite vet and everything like that, still he felt like Lou's kind of still more naturally laid back as opposed to someone like a Vince Carter who's going to tell Trey things that he doesn't want to hear all the time. So I suggested, what about, I guess, John Wall as far as that attitude and stuff like that was concerned. He's like, yeah. And I was like, well, the money, probably wouldn't work and everything like that. You wouldn't pay that much money for a backup point guard, but, just hypothetically. And then, obviously the other point guard on the market, Ben Simmons. So I guess, would you guys trade for Ben Simmons or John Wall?
If I had to choose between one?
No. I mean, like, if you had to make a trade, would you trade for either one of those guys? Bogey, Gallo, or Herder, Gallo. I mean, I don't know if you could trade Herder because he just signed, but any kind of combination of one of those wings who are kind of clogging up things plus Gallo.
I don't want either guy. I really don't want either guy. Like I'm not a Ben Simmons guy at all. Like to me, like if you trade it, I'm not saying it'll be a disaster if you trade for Ben Simmons, but I feel like with him, like he'll help in certain areas, but I also think he'll create new holes. Like we saw what he did in the playoffs. Like his inability to shoot is a problem. And the thing with Ben Simmons is if you traded for him, you can't play him with Clint Capella because neither guy can shoot. And if you pair him with Collins, then okay, all of a sudden you're small in the front court and you lose some rim protection. And the thing with Ben Simmons is, what do you give up? Philadelphia. If I had to guess, if I'm about to guess what's in Daryl Morey's head, he would probably ask for John Collins, at least.
Kevin Herter, he is the best player in like Philadelphia 76ers history.
Maybe, but he would probably ask for John Collins at least. And if I'm Atlanta, especially with how John Collins has looked this season and really how he's looked over the last like year, like I'm not trading John Collins for Ben Simmons. Like I'm not. So I think I think I'm a big no on Ben Simmons. John Wall is like, if I had to choose between like who I would prefer between Wall and Simmons, I actually would prefer Wall, believe it or not. But like Wall's contract is a problem. And like also with John Wall, I mean, I think there's a question as far as like, you know, how many I think he could be decent, but like at the same time, would he be happy playing behind Trae Young playing 15 minutes? I'm not sure about that. So I don't know. I'm kind of lukewarm on like both options, but if I had to pick one, then I would probably pick Wall over Simmons, but that's more so because of just how low I am on Simmons as far as like a guy who can make a true difference on the Hawks.
Dwaine.
Yeah, I'm gonna co-sign pretty much almost everything he said. The Sixers, they want a king's ransom right now for Ben Simmons, it seems like. So, like I said, I'm not giving up JC or anybody. I'm not doing that trade at all. John Wall, yeah, kind of meh. I mean, it would be a decent fit, I think. But like you said, money would be a problem, the issue with that. Main guy I wanted this past offseason, I was big on Derrick Rose coming to here, but that didn't work out, of course. But the question is, like you said, if you make a trade, you were to trade, let's say, it's going to be a wing that you trade. It would be a Cam. It would be a Kevin Hurt or both. It would be a wing player that you're making that trade. So what position do you trade for? You can't trade for another wing that, because of value-wise, you're giving up. So what are you telling me? You're going to give up 3 better guys just to get somebody that's not going to demand as many minutes and can fit into the rotation? That doesn't make sense. So it has to be somewhere to upgrade at some position. What position do we really have that could be upgraded, really? Which is the thing, backup point guard, possibly, if you can get a really good one, or maybe backup power forward, maybe, if you decide to move over from Gallo. So other than that, you got Capella that you just signed to a new contract, and you have Onyeka coming back. So it has to be one of those 2 positions. So who do you trade for? That's the big question. If Travis decides he needs to make a trade to clear up space, who did you go for out of those 2 positions? What players out there? I haven't really heard or looked into, any specifically, but I would think it would have to be point guard or power forward, I would think. So,
a guy that I brought up with someone on Twitter last week was a guy like Thaddeus Young. That young, and he's in San Antonio. Like the Hawks could, if there's one thing I think the Hawks need is maybe like some defense. Like Gallinari is, and I know he's played better the last couple of games, but he's not really a good defender. And if there's one thing I think the Hawks could use, like they need someone who can play some defense off the bench a little bit. And also, like, if like DeAndre Hunter comes back healthy, like the Hawks could use someone who can who doesn't need the ball in their hands, who can sacrifice touches, for defense at the expense of maybe having Hunter, or Reddish or Herter have the ball more. So maybe something like that would make sense. Like a that young.
I've always been a Young fan, honestly. So I think that would be a good look, honestly. That they need, in my opinion, they need like a tough vet that could provide production, but at the same time know their role and not, going to be harping for more minutes. You know what I'm saying?
So y'all saying, so both of y'all are saying Gallo for that young trade up, or
that's an idea. That's kind of like an idea. I'm not saying I would pack Gallo's bags and move him out of town, but if they had to make a move, something like that would make sense.
What do y'all think about the cat fantasies, the cat rumors? You know.
Oh, I'm a big cat fan.
Yeah.
I love cat.
So cat.
Are you trading him for John
Collins? Yeah, I was about to say.
Honestly, I would not. And to me, I said this yesterday. John Collins, man. I think the one thing that I've appreciated with him more is he's just to me, he's done more sacrificing on this team more than anyone on the roster. And like before the start of last season, like my question with John was like, okay, you put up 20 and 10, but like how does he fit? Like how does he look on a winning team? Like how does he impact winning? Like we know he puts up numbers, but how do you impact winning? And he's done that. Like he's improved as a defender. He's improved as a, this season you've seen him improve as a passer. He's done a great job, as far as like his help side defense. He's taking charges. He's passing the ball. He's developed a nice little, floater when he's, running pick and roll with Trae Young. He's developed that nice little fadeaway jumper. He has a nice little one-step mid-range pull-up jumper that he likes. Like he's improved a lot. And he's also done a good job of, he's also shown that like he doesn't need 10 shots to impact the game. Like he's okay with taking 5 shots. I know us fans get frustrated sometimes that he doesn't get enough touches, and he does need touches like that. Like I've seen it, a lot of times this season already. And I know Dwaine pointed out, the game he had against the Warriors where he had 7 shots in the first half and he had like 1 in the second half. Like that was bad. Like that was bad for John Collins to not get enough touches. But John Collins has also shown us that like no matter how many touches he doesn't get or he gets, he's impacting winning. And you need a guy like that on your team.
I think one of the, kind of a side note, one of the cuter things that I've seen with this Hawks team this year is the Trae's bench shot in the pregame is going from just a bench shot in the pregame and Trae doing a shimmy or a dance or whatever to him changing it into a bounce pass alley-oop to John Collins. I think that's I noticed things like that, and it was nice that Trae switched that up, kind of more team oriented. I don't know. I might be over analyzing small things, but I noticed the details like that. I guess okay. So you guys talked about who you would trade for, what trades will really work for the Hawks. I guess without that, with that we can move into this week, the rest of this week. So by the time this comes out, this game might have been played already, but you guys can talk about it. Celtics, Hornets at home on Saturday, and then Thunder at home on Monday. So those 3 games, all at home. Who do you have winning?
You want me to go first or?
You can go.
Ooh,
Celtics, Hornets, Thunder. Just a recap.
I'm gonna say they won all 3 of these games.
5-game winning streak followed by the 6-game losing streak into a 5-game winning streak.
They're gonna win. I'm gonna say they win, and then they'll sweep the homestand. Even though I will say this, Boston. I'm not a big Boston believer, but I am like a little worried about Jason Tatum because he's been struggling, and I'm a little nervous that tomorrow might be his breakout game where like he might explode and might score 40 on us. So I'm worried about that. And the Hornets are just the weirdest team, are just the most confusing team in the NBA to me. Like, I don't know what's up with them. It feels like they get smacked one night, and then the following night they'll play some incredible close game.
NBA All-Star Miles Bridges.
He's unbelievable. He's unbelievable. But like, you know what? Despite all that, I think the Hawks sweep this homestand. Like I do. They're 5-1 at home. All of the teams that they play are beatable. So they'll sweep the homestand. And then they'll beat San Antonio, and then they'll lose to Memphis.
I agree. I said we're gonna win these next 3. like Red said, I think all three are winnable. We played so well at home. I think we're motivated to try to get back to 500 at least. I like us winning all three.
Malik.
I'm gonna go 2-1, and I think they'll lose against the Hornets. They I don't even think they beat the Hornets last year. Like for some reason the Hornets gave them problems.
I feel like Wade or James when I step back. I'm sorry. I forgot. They won the sports bars. Best rapper in the league. RTBMB, man. NBA All-Star, RTBMB. He got to perform where is it? In Chicago this year? He got to perform at the All-Star game. Come on, MB.
But I think they'll beat the Celtics. I think they'll definitely beat the Thunder. But like Reggie said, the Hornets are kind of weird. But the Hawks have struggled against them. So I'm gonna just get that L. I'm gonna give them that L 2-1.
I think it's very difficult to win 5 in a row, especially coming off of losing 6 in a row. All of us have kind of just bypassed, not even questioned the OKC game, just kind of disrespected them, and for good reason. So I'm gonna jump on that train. They're gonna beat OKC. They're gonna beat Boston. Like Red said, is not a guarantee. I'll say it though. I think they beat Boston. I think they lose to Charlotte. So I'm going 2-1 as well. And that's all I have. So, fellas. Oh wait, hold on. I believe Dwayne's trying to say something. Dwayne, we're gonna wait for you. We're gonna give you a few seconds. Dwayne, we see you, Dwayne. Can we hear you? It's a question.
That's a question. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, like I said, Nick was saying, the Hornets gave us problems last year. I just think the fact that we're at home on a Saturday night, on top of that, I think the place is going to be rocking. I just think that they'll find a way to win that game. But out of those three, I think that Hornets game is going to be the toughest game. Like I said, I'm not saying this game is going to be easy. It's going to be tough as well. But the one that we're most likely, if somebody asked me which one you think we're most likely to drop, I would say the game against the Hornets. But I still got us winning all three, though.
Gordon Hayward went off on January 6th, man. He was motivated that day. But
did he score like 40 something?
Yeah, like 44. On January 6th, it was just like that. That's how I always remember it, because the jokes are going crazy.
That's not that game where Miles Bridges baptized Clint, is it?
No. That was in Charlotte. The January 6th game was in Atlanta when Hayward, the Miles Bridges dunk, that was in Charlotte. That was a Sunday game, and the Hawks won that game. And because that was the game where post-game interview Lou Williams was like, "Yeah, I don't really like early games, for certain reasons."
Oh yeah,
Okay, that was that game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, man. So I guess if that's everything for everybody, I guess go around and let the people know where they can find you.
Reggie's World, Twitter, Reggie's World, REGGIES _world, WORLD.
Y'all can find me on Twitter at _highly favorite 2, and I'm on Instagram as well, M_Dwaine.
Find me on Twitter and Instagram at _Malik ATL.
Yeah, you ATL Sports Unlimited. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. As always, Prize Picks code ASU Prize Picks, man. You know what I'm saying? But also, you can find me on Twitter at Mo Billings. Hit us up, man, for real. Like desperately, please, bro. But all right. If you guys take care. Have a good week. And if they come out clean.